I'll try and make this short, but I was just listening to this like psychology interview podcast thing, and it was really good stuff. So this guy who's about 32, I feel like I need to go somewhere quieter. There we go, that's better. This guy who was 32 basically had really abusive parents. And this guy was going through all this stuff, and the interviewer who was talking to this dude was basically like unpacking all these things and like showing the person what their motivations were based on the abuse that they had like kind of endured and stuff. And it's like they had connected all the dots, and it's like, oh, this is why you're doing that. This is why you're saying that. This is why you didn't think of this thing when I asked for this. And so it's a little bit cathartic towards the end. It's like, okay, we've figured it out. And after all that, the guy being interviewed is like, well, I guess I have worse problems than I thought. Don't misinterpret this. Like, I had a lot of sympathy for this guy, and part of the reason I'm saying this is in a lot of ways I could sort of see myself in this guy. And he probably got a lot of good content out of this interview. I guess the thing I'm trying to say is you definitely want to understand the problems. You want to understand where your tendencies come from so you can sort through it and sort of choose who you are in a more meaningful way and what you're working towards and understand your motivations. But at the end of all of that, which is work you should do, you need to realize that you need to be the hero in your story. Like, knowledge is not really enough. At the end of the day, it's like, am I really tearing this shit up? Like, think about this. Think about somebody that steals everything from you. Like somebody just flat out robs you, you know? As a man, what do you do if you encounter that dude who robbed you? Like, as a man, you should want to beat the shit out of that guy. And if you can't do that, the next best thing you can do is just come back even stronger. You know, I came up from a messed up enough family situation, as you guys know, that I was on the Dr. Phil show. Like, you don't get on the Dr. Phil show unless things are really, really wrong. So just think about it. What are you gonna do because of all this stuff that's been stopping you and just taking years from you and all of that? Like, what is the response? What should you want at the end of the day from all of that? Like, the heroic thing to want, and you want to understand, like, I'm not saying brush it under the rug, understand it, but at the end of the day, what you need to do with that is do as much good in the world as you can and live the most kick-ass life possible. Like, one theory of sin in Christianity is the idea that the really bad thing about it, it's deeper than this, but one of the ideas is it's just robbing you. It's like robbing you of your time and of the impact you could make in the world. Like, think about everything that holds society back. It's always like, listen, if there was not rape and destruction and theft, society would be awesome. If people weren't deceitful, if people weren't defrauding each other, like, we would be an interplanetary species by now. Like, who even knows what kind of stuff we could have figured out in all of this time if we didn't have that? So that's how you should think about, like, overcoming those things in your childhood, early life, whatever it is. A lot of you, it's like addictions. You know, I've known a lot of addicts in my life. I've lost, like, my best friend growing up not too long ago died of a heroin overdose. Like, all that does is just rob the world of the good you could have done. So I guess this is just my raw reaction to hearing that interview. And I think the guy being interviewed is in a better place. I'm not throwing shade at him. I'm just saying, like, there needs to be this thing of like, okay, well, I've made it out of the morass. I've, like, pulled myself out of the quicksand. So now what? Like, what do you do then? And it's just like, do as much damage as you can. Like, do as much good in the world. It's like somebody fighting in a war. If you're like already dead or about to be dead, take out as many of the enemy as you can. Like, this is seriously how we should be thinking about things. You've only got so much time, and a lot of it's already been taken from you. So you might as well take out as many of the bad guys as you can on the way out.